The Mets have a Juan Soto problem that will doom their championship goal. If you're a Mets fan, right now it's the time to alarm yourself because, yes, 2025 will be another year in which you will cry a lot. So, during the offseason, we saw the Mets again not being shy to spend, as has been the case ever since Steve Cohen took over the team. Juan Soto, who was pursued by pretty much everyone, if we're to believe of reports, well, he ended up landing on the other side. He went from the New York Yankees to the other side, to the New York Mets, who, if anything, are to many the stepchild. But how did this happen? Well, the main reason why this happened is because the Mets were the team that were willing to pay any amount. In fact, if anything would have gotten out that other teams were willing to go to 900, no doubt the Mets would have gone to $1 billion, if not even more. We're talking about an owner that has a net worth that goes way over $20 billion, almost 25 at this point. So this is pretty much his pastime. This is him playing with his live action figures of baseball. That's what he's doing. And Juan Soto, it's very interesting. So you got a guy who, by all means and intents, has been posted as a generational talent. And I seem to wonder, is he really a generational talent? That's the big question mark that many people should have. I've heard so much chatter about this guy by so many people, and including a lot of people that I respect. And I really wonder, what am I missing here? Is this guy the most interesting thing ever? Or am I just being very objective? It was not long ago that a guy named Mike Trout was making numbers that actually swept by what Juan Soto did. And in fact, it's very bad that health has been such a scarce for Ronald Acuna, because not only is he more exciting to watch playing than Juan Soto, I think that his ceiling, if healthy, would have been much higher. At this point, I don't know what to think. I think that when you injure those both knees, as he's done, it's going to be a tough bounce back. But at the same time, that actually reminds me. Remember that 2018 when they were pretty much coming up at the same time? Juan Soto was not the winner of the Rookie of the Year. It was Ronald. And it's very important that you actually keep this in mind, because I'm going to be accounting for many other things that maybe you haven't looked at. But it's okay. The guy did sign a the biggest contract in sports history. 15 years, $765 million, awarded by the New York Mets. So, it's magnificent, really. I mean, what are the memories when you think about Juan Soto? You're thinking about this guy that won the 2019 World Series with the Nationals, and whoa, that was great and everything. And, he hit a home run on a Verlander, and wow, it's like he's hitting a home run off a Hall of Famer. He's making it look easy. Kid is so young. He's this, and effectively, I mean, he's just 26 right now. And, gotta give all the health in the world for the guy. But yeah, it was 2019. It was a bright lights. And Juan Soto this, Juan Soto that. So he didn't win the Rookie of the Year. 2019, he did get his shine, mostly, during the World Series. If you ask me, his 2019 season was good, but was it really, by standards, phenomenal? No. In fact, that actually takes me to 2020. 2020, he led the majors in multiple areas. So he really took the league by storm in multiple things. Albeit, even though he did that, and even though he was able to crack the ceiling of, a batting title and everything, that was a shortened season because of, something you might remember, COVID-19. So it was very, very out of norm type of season. That was the shiniest as far as leading stats for Juan Soto. And I want you to follow here with me. If I tell you the accolades as far as the awards he's gotten and then career highlights, he's been a full-time All-Star. Keep in mind this guy came up the majors in 2018. World Series champion 2019. We already talked about that. He's been a 3-time MLB first team, all MLB second team 2019, 5-time Silver Slugger Award. Like I said before, also NL batting champion 2020. That's great. Now, it's also fascinating when we account, because remember what I was telling you that in 2020 was that one season in which he was able to accumulate multiple stats in which he was the leader in that shortened season. I found a very funny thing when you actually start checking, and he's not exactly been a leader of much of anything in baseball. I mean, yes, as he had balanced seasons, yes. But I don't know, man. I mean, I grew up seeing greats like Barry Bonds, like Alex Rodriguez, just to name, like the two big dragons. So when I hear the word generational talent being tossed around, no disrespect, but Juan Soto is not exactly the reference point that I think about. And again, I feel great for the guy. The fact, he's a fellow countryman from the DR as myself. Great. He's putting the bright lights to shine. Awesome. Did it in the Yankees. Now he's going to have a chance to do it in the Mets. And Mr. Met. What do you think about Mr. Met as a mascot? Leave it down in the comments. I'd love to see what people think. So, after checking on that, so I see that in 2024, according to the internet, Juan Soto only led in runs scored. That was the only stat that he led. 2024 was also the first year that he reached 40 home runs. Isn't that a little disturbing for a guy that we've heard tossed around in the names of greats, the Ted Williams, the Mike Trouts, the Bonds, the Soto. And this is very interesting. And again, my props to both Soto and Boras out of the fact that they were able to land that deal because, it's not an easy breezy. But wow, it takes a magician in so many ways because you would expect, with all the hype from Juan Soto for that contract and everything, that you would see him literally be all-time leading this, leading that. But as much as he is in the top 10 of a certain amount of stats that amount for eventual Hall of Fame players that actually accomplish and whatnot, I go to 200 home runs, which he just reached towards the end of last season. And it's great because it's another stat that makes you go like, okay. So he became the 7th youngest player to reach 200 home runs at 25. 7th, right? Well, the same thing will happen if you continue seeing more stats from the guy. You'll actually see that he's a very, very well sold product. And that's fine. That's great. You know what? In the end, your market value goes back to the fact of what you're able to sell yourself for in whatever line of business you're in. If you are able to find someone that pays you, even if it's above of what you should be paid, hey, far it be from me to tell you that you are undeserving. Now, if you are a player that you've been very good, but he's not exactly been legendary by standards. And I really find it laughable how projections are so futile in regards of reality. I happen to remember that Ken Griffey Jr. back in the day was supposed to hit, 1,000 home runs and this and that. And Juan Soto is not even as impressive as what the junior was back in the day. Not even to mention many others. So that leads me back to the Mets. Great. So the Mets got so busy in the fact of signing Soto that this is the product they're going to put on the field. So at catcher, you're going to have Francisco Alvarez. I hope the best things for that kid. He's very interesting, and I think the best is yet to come. Pete Alonso, who, they dwelled in every single way on how to bring him back after he has been a corner piece of relevance for them for years. They barely signed them weeks ago at the time of this recording. Jeff McNeil, who has been in a very steady decline. Mark Vientos, who came out of nowhere and had a very, very interesting season. I hope he can actually improve upon that. Francisco Lindor, come on, as exciting as can be. Love the guy. That's a style of play. That type of thing, I'm Dominican. I really love the way that Lindor plays. Hat tip. Brandon Nemo, who pretty much has never accomplished a ceiling. Tyron Taylor, much to be said of when will something be said. Juan Soto, okay. And Jesse Winker at DH. Great. So the closer is going to be Edwin Diaz. We know that. And then the rotation. This is where it really gets interesting. Oh, boy. I swear it's not Friday the 13th that I'm recording this at. Sean Manel, Kodai Senga, Frankie Montas, Clay Holmes, and David Peterson currently is the projected starting five for the Mets. So, what happened to the Mets? Were they so busy trying to land Juan Soto that they forgot to structure the rest of the team? Because, again, keep in mind that, yes, the Mets reached the postseason in 2024, and they also lost. And they lost in a way that, pretty much anyone and everyone that goes to the dance, it was not very eventful. It was not like they were a highlight team. Aside from the sensation of the second half that they became, which was pretty much off the shoulders of that hit song of Jose Iglesias, who, by the way, is not with the team anymore. I can't say that I was impressed. If they would have at least gone to the World Series, because I'll tell you this, and the fans of basketball, they'll appreciate this. I've always said LeBron James, yes, he's lost all those finals and this, that, but at least he's made it there. Last time the Mets made it to the dance was in 2015. How many things are different from 2015 to 2025? That's a decade. This is a team that last won 1986. The team that also went before 2015 last of the World Series in 2000 and was embarrassing by all means. But okay, we're in the Steve Cohen era. What is different? What is different is that pretty much we have the George Steinbrenner of this era. A guy that's willing to spend passionately, and, I can respect that. Those owners, they have their goods. They also carry a lot of bats, and a lot of the bats is that mostly they don't let the people that really know about the game do their work. So Cohen pretty much has done a passionate spending, if you ask me. Because again, what is this roster? What's really going to be the key for the Mets winning? Let me remind you that for the Mets reaching the World Series, they first have to go past, there's a certain team that's called the Dodgers who is awfully stacked in every single regard. Do you think that quickly, that lineup, the way they're stacked right now, the Mets actually have a chance? The Miracle Mets are not coming back. That was 69. That was a long time ago. Miracles just don't repeat just because. So, yes, Juan Soto pretty much became the eternal dream sold to so many and purchased by one, Steve Cohen. And Juan Soto became the sole focus on a Mets team that really needed to fortify itself to have a better chance of realistically competing, not just being sponged and thrown around. In the end, Soto is great. He's a marketable product. He's going to sell a bunch of merchandise because they're going to put on the hype train. You can be for sure that hype train is going to be strong for Soto. Do I think that he's a bust candidate? No, not really. But after all, how many players could have actually reached that stamp with the Mets and have become a bust? So you never know. You have to keep that door open. I wish the best for the kid, but at the same time, I'm not going to kid myself. You see what I did there? That was a very bad joke, by the way. The reality of the matter is, if you are the Mets and you have all the championship aspirations possible, I would have expected that you would have done much more than just going out for a player that was pretty much there for the Yankees in the World Series. Because, yes, Juan Soto did go to the World Series with the Yankees just a few months ago. And the Yankees, a better team, better stacked than what the Mets are. They were then. They are much more now. And Soto was pretty much just there. He was another player of them trying to face a Dodgers team that was as unstoppable as the juggernaut is in the X-Men. So, yes, in the end, when all the cards are thrown around, I have no doubt that Juan Soto, who, again, by the numbers that we were checking out and the awards, this guy has never been an MVP. He hasn't cracked that ceiling yet. Wasn't even the Rookie of the Year. Had a batting title in a shortened season. Does he have balanced seasons? Yes, he does. Is he one of the current best players in the league? Yes. Is he the best? No. No. He actually has multiple guys there. There's a guy called Shohei Ohtani that is worth, like, in reality, my appreciation at least 3-4 times what Soto is worth. You got Aaron Judge that when health is there with him, he should at very best be a 1B to Shohei Ohtani, if not a 1A, because, again, the monster, the gargantuan season that Aaron Judge can put up can go toe-to-toe with Shohei Ohtani. And you got a guy like Julio Rodriguez, who very well may actually have a better and higher ceiling than what Soto has. But in the end, my point is, there's no saving grace here for the Mets. Absolutely none. It's a very unbalanced team. They will have a competitive disadvantage out of the fact that it's just a team that is just not well-rounded. There's not talent that you just can go, wow. So, are they going to be the Miracle Mets in 2025? I don't think Circa 69 is going to happen. But in the end, just like we attribute the positives of when a championship is won, and like many did to that young guy in 2019, Juan Soto, you know what? Also, the negatives must be attributed to him. So, let's not forget that after that, the monumental situation that went down in the Nationals, who broke it up, disbanded the team. Juan Soto ended up in the Padres, and guess what he did for the relevance of the Padres' championship aspirations? Absolutely nothing. Did he return to the relevance of a deep playoff run again? Yes, he did in the Yankees. What did the Yankees have in common with the 2019 Nationals? They happen to be a very well-equipped team with talent. Let's not forget, it's not like you just had the 2019 Nationals being lifted on his shoulders by Soto. That team had a lot of guys, and it had a heck of rotation. So, yes, in the end, Soto has been demonstrated to be a product, and this is what facts tell us so far, of being in a very well-ran, oiled machine. I'm sorry, but if you think that can be said of what the Mets have been doing, even under Steve Cohen, no, they have not. Let's not forget that, yes, 2024 was finally bright. But before that, the other seasons, what can we say? I believe there is many, many chances of the Mets getting their fans again in the cry train, unequivocally. And Juan Soto will be the main reason. I will be reading your comments, and remember, always, always be happy. There's always a reason for it.